What has your party done for the people?
Actually, first of all, I must thank you, and it's a pleasure and an honor being here. The Ceylon Workers' Congress is a pioneer trade union, which is a part and parcel of the Indian origin community in Sri Lanka. So especially who are living in the upcountry and the tea plantation. So we being the one and only trade union, we were managed to get our political and trade union rights through without any riots or separatism or anything. We through acceptable manner we were managed to get our rights through trade union actions and
within the rules of our land.
Understood. So those rights which we have gathered. So we are one community. We started our development, our degrees, our education, comparing with other communities who are living in Sri Lanka. 3 decades later, we know, as you all well aware, we were stateless for three decades. I mean 30 years. Then, because of people's striving and a good leadership by late leader Saumyamurthy Thondaman, we are managed to secure our place. We are now equal to all communities.
So you managed to get your citizenship, and you are now as one, as part of one Sri Lanka.
Yes.
That's actually excellent work. Yes, I know. But for me, it looks like it's, that achievement is long gone now. And we've come long years after that. And it's still unacceptable that vast numbers of the estate working population continue to live in line rooms in almost deplorable conditions, certainly conditions that is not acceptable in this day and age. In this day and age of the internet, men have walked on the moon, and bond scams have happened, and all sorts of things have happened. The country has come far. Sri Lanka enjoys a per capita GDP of 4,000 plus, right? But nevertheless, 150, maybe 200 years later after Ceylon tea, and Ceylon tea is acceptable all over the world, available all over the world at premium prices, and the life of the average tea plantation worker or the plantation worker is far, far, far removed from the premium prices that Ceylon tea, for example, commands all over the world. So what are you all doing about that?
First of all, I should proudly mention that our community not only stick with estate sector. Now, if you take Colombo, the high-end businessmen, and we have produced lawyers, engineers, doctors, and a lot of traders, and leading sportsmen, all are from Indian origin community. Not only there are 2 sectors. One is informal sector, and workers and non-workers. There are, like, now day by day the details.
Well, what's the sort of percentage, Mr. Arusani?
No, those days we had a high number of plantation sector workers.
Right.
Day by day it deteriorated. Now it is like less than 100,000 workers who are working in the tea plantation.
Okay, what about how many of these people have become professionals? How many professional engineers, accountants, doctors, surgeons, lawyers? How many? I mean, the lawyers, maybe you can count on 10 fingers?
No, it is like this. Now, we like, if you take a community who is living in the estate sector, there are a lot of teachers, there are a lot of lawyers. Now that shift took place after 2000. As I told you earlier, there was a time where we wanted to secure our stability.
Right. You've done that now. You've done that.
Yeah, we have done it.
Right.
I can proudly say that.
No, but the thing is that, do you think you've chosen the right partner to be in politics, the SLPP?
Yeah, exactly. I can 100% count on that, because after the President Mahinda Rajapaksa in 2005, and even when 1990s, I guess, when SLFP government was there, the number of work done through the plantation sector and especially the development sector was high comparatively other governments. Then even in 2005 to 2015, there was a high number of development work, including housing, including infrastructural development, including healthcare. There was a high development. And after President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the mindset of the people and the development work among the estate sector and the upcountry was high.
Mindset, Mr. Arusami, may well have changed because the expectations are there. But 7 or 8 months later, can you tell me any one specific thing that the new President NGR has done?
One big thing he has done. He's a good administrator.
Right.
And we can proudly say, within this pandemic situation, none of one estate worker got infected or in Nuwara district, any plantation.
But can you attribute that directly to the President?
Yeah, because of our people's social responsibility, one. And the services given by the health sector, police and the tri-forces. And a strong leader, the President, and the strong minister, late Armugan Thondaman, we were managed to...
How many schools are there? How many schools are there available to the plantation workers?
Now there are few schools which are in the plantations. And there are few schools in the urban areas. So those are if you take it as numbers, there are developed schools in the urban areas, and there are schools which produce more results in the plantation sector. So we can't say this is comparatively this is I and this is N. So we can go on with that.
What about this, the fee that you charge, the membership fee? Can you clarify how much that is?
That is subscriptions, every union, not only us.
No, any union. But what's your one?
Every trade union, we, according to our collective agreement, 1/3 of per day's wage.
Right.
So that is now, currently a person's wage is 700 rupees, basic wage.
Right.
Out of that, 1/3 is around 233, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So that is the monthly wage.
Per month.
Per month.
So roughly just a little bit over 7 rupees a day.
Yeah, quite big.
If it's 30 days, 210 rupees. So it's about a little bit more than 7 rupees. What exact, do you think that from the perspective of somebody who's living in a line room is a third generation living there, and that he can only, or he or she can only live in there as long as they continue to work in the on the estate, then can you possibly say to them that they are getting good value for money?
No, the thing is, I just can't understand. You are focusing on the when you talk about our community, you talk about only the line rooms, the line rooms, the line rooms. No, that is, we must correct ourselves, because there are
That's not only the line rooms and line rooms. Education,
that is
opportunity.
Right. No, there are
but
people
housing is absolute staple.
Exactly. Now, when you come to housing, when our late leader Armugan Thondaman was a minister in 2013 and 14, he went to the Indian government. He had made a request to put up housing for our plantation sector workers.
Why? Because the central government in Colombo
the central
didn't have any
government, now
money?
see, for an example, you need around 250,000 houses to build in the upcountry to completely eradicate line systems in our plantation sector.
Right.
Most of the people, they talk about that, but they don't implement any.
Well, precisely my point.
Yeah, that is why. That is why our late leader went to the extent to seek the Indian government support to get housing and give us single house units to the worker.
So, Mr. Arusami, the late Arumugam Thondaman supported President Rajapaksa. He was a minister in that government and so on. Out of the 250,000 houses required, at the time, in the period 2005 to 2014 end, how many houses did the Rajapaksa administration provide?
We managed to build houses, which was a double barrack house. We wanted to build a house to save the land in a kind of a flat system.
So upwards.
So, but unfortunately, that didn't work well in the plantation sector, we must accept that. But
We didn't work well, why?
why the thing is, we don't want to keep our people in the same system, where we wanted to have an extended system where the families which were living in the same land for ages and ages, more than 200 years, must have their land. So,
Okay.
so we wanted to at least get 15 to 20 perch land,
Right.
and put up a single unit house where they can have their own amenities within them.
Right,
So this is our whole intention.
right.
But unfortunately,
But that's a lot of purchase, because if it's 20 per perch, and if it's even if it's 50,000
yeah, see, come
family,
on.
how many families are we talking about?
No, yeah, no. The thing is, we were a community
Yeah.
was building up this economy for more than 100 years.
Yeah.
We teared our sweat and blood to this land.
Yes, I know.
If we can't get at least considerable amount of land
Yeah.
for a housing, so pointless having a. As I told you earlier, we don't want to take it on a forceful manner, or we don't want to
Yes, but
have.
how many families are you talking about?
There are now, the thing is, as I told you,
Around 100,000, you said?
yeah, more than
Workers.
100,000. Yes.
Right, but how many of them are in families?
Families, if you take now, as I told you, we need 250,000 houses,
Right.
not for an individual, it's
No,
for
no.
a family.
Yeah.
So there are more than 250,000 families within the plantation sector, not only
So
Nuvarelia,
what do you
it's in
mean? Do
Kandy,
you need
Mathalan,
250,000 units?
Yeah. More than 250,000 units to completely, as you told, the identity, the line
To
houses.
get rid of the line houses?
houses, yes.
All right, we'll ask you, when we come back, Mr. Arusami, we'll ask you how do you think that the new government will try and help you with that. On that score, we'll take a short break. Don't go away. After all, this is Newsline Live.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. We're in conversation with Mr. Bharat Arulsamy, who's the Assistant Secretary of the CWC and also a candidate from the Kandy district for the SLPP. Apart from housing, Mr. Arulsamy, we have a few messages, and one of them is saying that big unions like the CWC want to keep the plantation labor force under their fist for their own survival, and so never allow them to move forward. Would you agree or disagree?
No, disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah.
All right. Another question. It's a statement. Please tell him the high-end traders and jewelers and some of the professionals of Indian origin in Colombo are not the descendants of estate people, but were migrants from India pre-1948, when there was visa-free travel to British Ceylon.
Yeah, there may be some one or two,
Yeah.
but I'm proudly saying from our community, there are a lot of journalists, there are a lot of doctors, there are lawyers, so I don't see any difference in that. They can be identified themselves have direct origins from India.
Right.
They are,
But there are some.
there are some, there may be, so they don't
What,
want to.
by becoming a member of this alliance with the SLPP, bearing in mind that President Mahinda Rajapaksa was president for nearly 10 years, during which time Arumugam Tondaman and the CWC were his partners, and very little was achieved in terms of housing and maybe even education. What chances are there for better performance this
No,
time round?
I talk about rather housing.
Right.
Since you touched the topic of education.
Yes.
My father was the education minister in President Rajapaksha's regime in Central Province.
Right.
In 2005 to 2008.
Yes, he's done some remarkable
Yeah.
progress.
Yes.
Managed to get many teachers seconded and so on and so forth.
Yes.
What chances of replicating that success that your father had in terms of education with housing and other matters, and including this 1,000 rupee minimum wage? What about that?
Yeah. 1,000 rupees wage, we had these negotiations, we started this negotiation from 2015.
Yeah.
So when there was a change of government, the ruling government then was like they didn't allow the CWC to take score by giving this 1,000, because they have branded this 1,000 rupees into our people.
Right.
But our people's need are much higher than that.
Right.
We are not asking only 1,000 rupees.
As a trade union, have you approached and have you lobbied the plantation companies and the authorities that for productivity to go up, there needs to be more available work? In the sense, if it's a tea plantation, there needs to be a better quality of tea bushes and so on,
Yes.
so that the people who are working it can actually work 5 days or 6 days a week.
Exactly.
At the moment, they don't have enough work because, and therefore their productivity is down. So it's catch-22. Have you, as a trade union?
Yeah, I'm the person who I do lobbying in the, especially among the plantation companies. I always emphasize the companies that to increase the productivity, you have to maintain your fields and do the replantation and increase the productivity. And also, we wanted the plantation company to dignify this worker. You can't, the youngsters who get themselves educated, they don't want to identify themselves as plantation workers. But if you compare with other countries, the plantation worker has named as a agrarian or a plantation agrarian.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, so that is what I'm always asking.
I don't think many people who live in a line house are proud of living in a...
No. And that is what I just wanted to correct. Now, the people in the plantation are not in the line house itself.
Right.
There are housing schemes. There are now Stony Cliff housing scheme, which built by our late leader Aramugan Thondaman. There are plantation workers who are in this housing scheme.
Right.
And Thondamanpuram, same. So everywhere there are housing schemes. There are one or two, I agree that there are one or two estates which are in bad condition. That is why the new generation,
Yes, complete
and
with leaking roofs. And
yeah, that is
so
what the new generation, myself and Mr. Jeevan Thondaman, our General Secretary, wanted to take this into the next level thing. So we wanted to eradicate the entire line system and put up new houses, which includes all the facilities, roads, access road, everything.
And what about land? Will the government give you land?
Yeah, this now already there has been approval for 7 purchase of land, which the previous government has
7 purchase
which
per
are
family.
which for a unit, which are we especially we are not much happy with that, because we were expecting much more. But unfortunately, in the previous regime, they have reduced the extent of land.
Sri Lanka is only a small country.
That's true. Yeah. But if you take the contribution to this small country.
Well, I know, but then we have to be practical. Isn't it better to get something better than nothing?
I'm not asking the entirety or the entire land. I'm asking about housing for a person. Now, if you take LRC Act, land, so a person who doesn't have a house is entitled for 20 purchase of land.
How many purchase?
20 purchase
20
of land.
Purchase.
So if he
in any part of the country?
In any part of the country.
Okay.
So if he or she...
But practically let's take Norelia, let's take Badul, Bandarawala, in all these upcountry areas, can you actually... is it logical or practical to ask for 20 purchase each?
See, we are Sri Lankans. We are on the same country. We are same citizens. So one person is getting 20 purchase of land. Why discrimination for us? That is the whole point of asking to...
Of course, they may turn around and say, right, we can give you 20 purchase, but it won't be... We don't have enough space up country.
No, that is what. Now, even now in our new housing plan, we wanted to put up houses in slab houses, rather putting roofs.
Right.
And
so you're talking about apartment type?
Yes. No. Separate individual house, which is slab.
Right.
So a family, mother and father can live in the ground floor, and after their sons or daughter get themselves educated, they can put up a house in up. First floor. Yeah. So this is the plan we are having. We are thinking about the durability,
like a good plan.
Durability, and we are talking about the sustainability.
Right.
Yeah. So this is our plan. So as the next generation leaders, we have to foresee the thing. We have a vision. We should have a vision. So that is what myself and Mr. Jeevan Thondamana is working on.
Would you say that the SLFP as it was then, and it's probably all the same now. But anyway, do you think that they are quite grateful in a way that the upcountry Tamil people never supported or had any role to play with the LTTE?
Yeah, because our people and our leader didn't have a mindset for separatism.
Right.
Even we don't practice
So
or
you all
encourage.
believe in one Sri Lanka,
We
one nation.
believe in one united Sri Lanka.
Right.
So my inspiration is Lakshman Katirkamar, a
Right.
person who wanted to keep this nation as one united country.
Indeed.
So I persuaded my legal studies and diplomatic studies to be one like him, because I wanted to save and safeguard this nation as a one country. We can't think about separatism and put this country down. So that is what, even in upcountry, our late leader Saumyamurthy Thondaman and our leader Armugan Thondaman never entertained or encouraged separatism in the upcountry.
Does it bother you that there are these growing allegations that Sri Lanka is headed towards militarization?
I don't see anything like that.
Okay.
Militarization may be a word. What I'm saying is a discipline should be maintained in the country to run us. Now, we are a developing country. We have a lot of competition around us and among us. So we must have a quite kind of a discipline within the democratic view. So that is what, separation of powers come in. So I don't see any militarization in this country.
Mr. Arosami, as we come towards the end of our program today, can I ask you, as a young person, you're 30, around 30-ish, you are 30, do you think that Sri Lanka is an all-inclusive society, that we are truly a multicultural society?
I 100% I'm sure about that, because we are a diverse country. That is what, even in my where I contest, I take about the policy of sustainable candidate district, which incorporates all the communities, not only Tamils, Sinhalese, Muslims, everyone. So it should be a practice in everywhere. In one of my policy, in my manifesto, I have given a sustainable candy under 4 pillars. In that 4 pillars, I have mentioned about culture and arts. In that culture and arts, I wanted to establish language centers in each AGA division in Kandy district to eradicate this language problem. That is what I always wanted to have this country as one united country. Having a communicational gap, which has led our country 30 years back, comparatively other countries. And I don't want to repeat that same in a new generation in our country, new generation leaders. So that is what President and SLPP and late leader Armugan Thondaman wanted me to contest in Kandy district, to ensure that our country and our district and our people stay strong as united. So I always agree with you. This country is a multi-diverse country which respects all community as the same.
And you're convinced of that?
I'm convinced.
Wonderful. Mr. Bharat Arosami, thank you for being on Newsline. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
And very good wishes for your future.
Yeah.
And especially if you are having a figure, an inspirator, like the model of Lakshman Kadirgama, a son of Sri Lanka who we all miss each and every day of turmoil that this country faces. A day doesn't go past when we do wish that we had a Lakshman Kadirgama. So, Ms. Arosami, thank you very much for being on our program. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
And do pop in again, and hopefully you'll come here the next time as an elected candidate of the SLPP representing the Kandy district.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's entirely our pleasure. And that's the way it was on Newsline Live this evening. Take care. Have a great evening ahead of you. And of course, God bless.